Hello, I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show. In this week's episode, I explore a very risky topic. Why an excellent sex life can be a key success factor, or indeed is a key success factor. These days, sex is in the news much of the time for the wrong reasons. I want to explore the right reasons why sex should be in the news. I'm willing to take the risk of exploring this topic this week. Sex and our sex life is a crucial part of our humanity, but in my experience, few people understand crucial nuances of its importance and how to harness it and how to benefit from it. I also share with you this week 5 strategies to improve your sex life. So stick around. If you're willing to take risks, this is the place to be. It won't be too risky, but I hope it'll be risky enough. This weekly show is founded on the formula SA plus P equals S. Self-awareness plus passion equals success. Your self-awareness together with your passion will give you success. Since 1993, when I left a legal career that I loved to become Australasia's passion provocateur, I have provoked, inspired, educated audiences in conferences, in workshops, over the past 28 years on the power of passion, of discovering passion, of harnessing its amazing capabilities. I've helped people via the books that I've written. Passionate People Produce Passionate Performance. I've helped them with one-on-one executive coaching. I've worked with teams over a lengthy period of time to help them achieve great outcomes. And passion is a crucial element of great outcomes. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous saying, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So I hope my show does indeed provoke you to examine your life. Now, I normally don't start with a joke early in the piece, but since we're going to be talking about sex, I have to give you a funny quote by Tom Clancy, famous author. He said, "Sex is the most wholesome, natural, wonderful thing that money can buy." You can see I'm wearing my red jacket. You know, red, not only is it the colour of red, but, you know, there was the Scarlet Woman. Red has these implications to improper sexual behaviour. But when you see red, I don't want you to get into improper sexual behaviour. I want you to think of your passion. Each week in this show, I focus on one big idea that can impact your life in a big, positive way. I don't want to cover too many ideas. This is episode 51, so that means we've covered 51 big ideas so far. I hope they've been useful for you, and I hope you stick around and stick with the show because there are many more ideas to come. Each week I also share with you 6 resources that will help you put into practice the particular idea that I share with you. This show is not politically correct. This show supports certain addictions that you may have. An addiction to coffee like I do. Thank you, my wonderful wife, for making me a wonderful cup of coffee. Thank you, Nespresso, for your excellent machines that make wonderful coffee. This show subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life, that we have a human spirit, that we are more than just what we can see. So if anything spiritual offends you, this is not the place for you to be. So, what's happened in the past week? Well, the overwhelming perspective that I'm getting from the news is that the news you get is hugely different depending on the news sources that you access. The news around vaccines, the safety and effectiveness of vaccines, coronavirus lockdowns, different doctors giving different advice on it. You need to look at lots of different sources of information to be able to form your own opinion. That's why Buckminster Fuller said, be comprehensively informed. Take an interest in lots of areas, because how are you going to decide what to do if you have very poor bases on which to make a decision? Education is a classic example. The ongoing debate around education in Australia, but also in America. I mean, in the 1980s, I was given a wonderful book called The Closing of the American Mind, a critique of American education. In Australia, our education system can be good, but it can be not good. That's in the news. Government spending is in the news. $1 trillion debt Australia is going to have. American debt is considered to be non-repayable. The economic prognostications continue, and we as ordinary human beings, each one of us being unique, each one of us being a weirdo, as you've heard me say, what are we meant to do about this? Do governments have to repay debt? And your information around this is a core factor in what you do to, if you like, create the security that you want for your family. They are difficult questions, and the simple answer is that expert economists aren't agreeing with each other. So I urge you to do your own thinking, continue to expand your sources of information, your thinking around this topic, so you can make better decisions. That's what this show is about, giving you one big idea each week to make better decisions. I was quite amused with economists being published, as to their prognostications 3 and 4 years out, when in Australia the expert economists predicted there would be 29,000 new jobs created over the course of the previous month. In fact, it was 89,000. So even in a very current matter, economists can't predict. It reminds me of a good joke, the definition of an economist, and I hesitate to say this because one of my sons is an economist. An economist is a person who tells you tomorrow why what he predicted yesterday didn't happen today. But the sad part is that what's going to happen to the economy is going to have a crucial impact on each one of us. So being aware of it is useful for you. And the debates continue, so take an interest in the debates. The other big matter in the news is the geopolitical situation between China, the threat of war, allegedly, the relationship with Australia, the Canada-China relationship, the US-China relationship. And it reminds me, when you look back in history, of the predictions in England that Germany would never go to war because Adolf Hitler said he would never go to war. Well, is there going to be war? Is there not going to be war? I consider, from previous shows, you will know this to be true, that your greatest security lies within you, because all these geopolitical machinations are really hard for us to impact upon, but I urge you to be open to all possibilities. Who knows what's going to happen? Because it's a whole bunch of different factors all coming together on this amazing ball in the sky that we call planet Earth, where there are 8 billion of us. The interesting thing about 8 billion of us is we are all one species, Homo sapiens. In fact, it reminds me that I'll have to talk into this question of racism. You can't be guilty of racism because there are no races. As a matter of science, there are no races. I will make that a topic one day in the future. Now, to today's big idea. Before I do that, I urge you to go and visit our websites, covest.com for corporate programs, for public programs, CharlesCoves.com for details about the self-awareness and passion quest. Subscribe to Passion Points to Ponder. My books are available on those websites. You can subscribe to Passion Points. And please subscribe to this YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube, or this podcast, and please share this show with your friends, families, networks. Okay. Today's risky big idea. Here we go. Why an excellent sex life is a key success factor for you. A key success factor, not the key success factor, but a success factor. And 5 strategies to improve your sex life. Now, for some years I've been wondering whether I should run sex programs. Public how to have a great sex life programs. I'll be interested in your feedback on whether you think I should. To be honest, sometimes I don't want to be known as a sex educator, but I have always known that it's a key factor in our humanness. This from an early age, like many children, this thing called sex, as we get into our early teens, it's a big deal. And if I start running sex programs, I might get a reputation as a sex educator. Is that what I want as a passion provocateur? Maybe I do. I will continue to ponder that question. This topic is a risky one, but a very important one. I'm willing to take the risk of exploring it somewhat more deeply. I don't think you'll be offended, but if you're offended, I don't care. If you think I shouldn't do this, I don't care. If it upsets you, I don't care. Maybe that's what you need today, to be upset, because living your life in a way that you avoid upset is a surefire way to learn very little. If this topic scares you, I'm pleased about that as well, because that's what the learning journey is about. Anything new is almost certain to be scary. And new ideas around sex could be scary. Maybe you've suppressed your desire to learn about your sex life. You've just suppressed it out of existence. If you aren't in a wonderful, loving relationship now, that might be by choice, but it might also be because you don't understand sex life very well, or you might be upset about me talking about sex because you're not in a relationship. But maybe what I share with you today will help you create a better relationship. Sex is enjoyable. It is wonderful. It is necessary. It is a crucial release valve, and it's a crucial spiritual, mental, and physical release valve. It is part of our design as human beings. If you believe in God, God designed us. I consider there to be an intelligent design. I do not consider that we have just evolved out of a big bang. That's another. I might share some ideas around, evolution or creation. It's a fraught topic again, but as human beings, we are so amazing. So amazing. And our sexuality is such an amazing factor in what makes us human that ignoring it causes you to pay a big price. To not learning about it causes you to pay a big price, because you are suppressing a big part of your humanness. Suppressing part of who you are is going to block your potential success. Without sex, now remember, I'm talking generalities here. This is not black and white. Anything to do with human behavior is not black and white, other than the science that you are born a male or a female. So I reject the nonsense around all these different genders. But if you make the decision that you're going to be celibate for the rest of your life, terrific. You are in a tiny, tiny minority. If you want sex and don't have it, it's frustrating. It can make you angry. It can block your innovative thinking. You can waste a lot of energy thinking, where can I get sex, when you haven't got a good sex life. Your success may well be linked to your inability to think clearly because you don't have a good sex life. In the executive one-on-one coaching that I've done over the years, I have explored the sex life of many male and female coaching clients. It is a wonderful topic to discuss because it's so important in how we feel about our lives. And at the end of the day, pursuing passion, when you do that, you feel fantastic. When you are successful, you feel fantastic. When you're achieving your goals, you feel fantastic. And so if you have a lousy sex life and it's not what you want, then it's difficult to feel successful. It's difficult to feel fantastic. When you have a great sex life, you feel good. You feel whole. You feel energized. You feel capable of achieving so much more. You feel willing and able to embrace the challenges that your life gives you. So I consider a sex life to be a crucial key success factor, and I therefore urge you to learn about it. I urge you to think about it. I urge you to review your past or your sex life to date and go, is it what you want, or do you want it to be better? And how has your unsatisfactory sex life impacted on all of the other achievements of your life? That is a contemplation matter. That is a matter that I'm happy to explore with you in an executive coaching program, but it's an important issue, and that's why I'm talking about it. Now, I promised you 5 strategies to improve your sex life. Well, here they are. Number 1, learn about what a great sex life means. Male, female. However you like to have your sex, learn about it, because most people, in my experience, have not learned about it. They go, well, what I learned in my teenage years and from Playboy is enough. No, it's not. There is a vast amount of additional information now available, readily available, but you have to want to learn about it. So that's what this show is about, to inspire you to want to learn about what a great sex life means, what are the elements of it, and how to achieve it. The second aspect then is to learn how to be good at sex, how to be good at lovemaking. You see, most people, when I ask them, do you think you're good at lovemaking? They go, sure, I've had no complaints. I have checked with one of the great sex therapists in Australia, a woman who's coached many women. And men tell me, oh yes, I've had no complaints from women about how good I am at sex. Diane, whose name shall remain nameless, but if you want to know her name, I'm happy to share it with you. She says women learn, or girls learn at a very young age, never to tell a bloke that he's not very good at sex. All right? It's such a blow to a man's ego. So men and women, I urge you to not only learn about sex, but learn the techniques. There are techniques you can learn as to how to be good at lovemaking. Third strategy, be more open about what you think and feel about sex with your partner. Take the risks in your relationship to share your vulnerability. People don't talk enough about sex, about making their sex life better, about their frustrations, because, when we're in a relationship with a weirdo. You're a weirdo and your partner is a weirdo. This is a risky business, opening up about sex, and many, many people are angry because they're not getting the sex that they want. I learned from a Jesuit priest, ironically, a wonderful formula: V plus V equals I. When vulnerability meets vulnerability, you get intimacy. It's risky to be vulnerable around your views around sex, but it leads to intimacy. And many people crave intimacy. Rather than operating at a very shallow level, they want to go deep. But if you're not willing to be vulnerable, it's like two knights in shining armour trying to make love. Just imagine that picture of two knights covered in steel and covered in their armour, trying to get together to make love. That's how most people approach this topic, in my experience. Strategy number 4. Learn how to be attractive to the person who you want to have regular sex with, to your partner, or if you want to attract a new person into your life. What makes you attractive? Get some external advice. Never use force. That's why people get into trouble about sex, because they're frustrated about it, so they impose their sexual proclivities on others. No, you don't have to do that. Much more sensible strategy is to become attractive. And being passionate about what you do is a crucial element in your attractiveness as a human being. You send out these unconscious, superconscious, spiritual vibes about yourself. You can become more attractive. The choice is, don't become attractive and impose yourself, or become attractive and attract a wonderful partner, wonderful partners into your life. And the 5th strategy is to get healthier. Over 50% of men in Australia aged over 50 have erectile problems. Just imagine that. This is according to the Australian Medical Association. Once you're over 50 years of age, 50% of men have erectile problems. They can't easily get erections. And women, in terms of their own physiology, because they haven't looked after their health, they're nowhere near what I would describe as healthy. Their body, sex is not a comfortable thing to do. And so making this decision, gosh, I want to get healthier because I want a better sex life, and I want a better sex life because it's a key success factor, might become just the tipping factor that you need to say, right, it's time for me to get healthier. And I remind you that from research that I've done, the most important step that a man can take for good prostate health is frequent ejaculation. Because and I've learnt this from a health expert, a holistic health expert, we as human beings are made up of pipes and tubes. We are open to the environment. We've got all these openings into the environment. And so if you are not letting the materials flow through your pipes and tubes, it is unhealthy. So one of those around ejaculation is you're keeping the fluids flowing. Stagnant fluids in any environment are never the way fluids are meant to be. So that's just a small element of what it means to be healthy. And then it's the functioning of those pipes and tubes that then leads to erections for men, because it's blood flowing properly that creates those erections. Anyway, there you are. That's getting a bit risky, isn't it? That's what we've got to talk about. That's what you have to talk about. That's what you have to go to your health advisor. I hesitate to say doctor because, anyway, you know my view around that, because doctors are fantastic at traumatic injury. They're not trained to keep you healthy. This show is all about keeping you healthy, giving you ideas for you to explore around your health. So, I hope I've explained to you well why your sex life is a key success factor, and you can do something about it to improve it. I hope I've provoked and inspired and scared you into doing so. Now it's time for some resources. The song. I've got 2 songs for you, bonus this week. Both of them start with let's. Let's do it. Birds do it. Bees do it. Even educated fleas do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Well, I look at that as two things. Not let's do it, let's fall in love. Let's do it and let's fall in love. In Spain, the best upper sets do it. Lithuanians and let's do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. The Dutch in Old Amsterdam do it, not to mention the Finns. Folks in Siam do it. Think of Siamese twins. Some Argentines without means do it. People say in Boston, even beans do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. And then if you want to go on the sultry side, the sexual side, Marvin Gaye's song, Let's Get It On. I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby, then come on. Oh, come on, whoa. Let's get it on. Ah, baby, let's get it on. Let's love, baby, let's get it on. We're all sensitive people with so much to give. Understand me. Since we've got to be here, let's live. I love you. So on it goes. I hope that inspires you listening to those two songs. My book is by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Body. And in chapter 9 of that book, Tim Ferriss goes deeply into techniques around having great sex. There are practical steps you can learn about how to get good at this thing called lovemaking. Women, understanding this becomes helpful for your enjoyment. Men, you need to learn this so that you can pleasure women. And if you're gay or lesbian, good. You can still learn it in any event. And of course, it's time for some jokes, lighten up a little bit. Steve Martin, he said this, that look women get when they want sex? Me neither. Drew Carey, sex without love is a meaningless experience. But as far as meaningless experiences go, it's pretty damn good. Rodney Dangerfield said this, if it weren't for pickpockets, I'd have no sex life at all. Rodney Dangerfield also said, my wife said she'd like to have sex in the back seat of the car, but she wanted me to drive. George Burns, it isn't premarital sex if you have no intention of getting married. And lastly, Harvey Korman. No, second last. Using Viagra is like putting a new flagpole on a condemned building. And lastly, Lynn Lavner. There are a number of mechanical devices which increase sexual arousal, particularly in women. Chief among these is the Mercedes-Benz 380 SL. Love it. So there you are. That's a bit risque too as well. Now, spiritual tip. Making love, we call having sex. Right? Making love. Love is spiritual. Improving your sex life and having sex with someone you love is a mental, physical, spiritual activity. I urge you to think about the times in your life when you've had magnificent sex. I suggest to you it puts you in touch with your soul, your spirit, your heart. So my spiritual tip is to understand the link between making love and accessing your loving side. And your health tip is to get healthier because unblocking your tubes and pipes in your body is a crucial element to everything flowing in your body as it's meant to flow. So have that picture in your mind. And for men, I remind you that the best thing you can do for good prostate health, in what I've learned, is frequent ejaculation. Not regular ejaculation, because that's once a year. Your birthday is regular. Christmas is regular. Frequent. And lastly, this week's quote. Make love, not war. I think a lot of people are so angry and frustrated because they're not doing enough love making. So think about that. Came from San Francisco, remember? The flower power movement, make love, not war. I'd much rather be making love than going to war with China or with anybody for that matter. Well, that's it. This show has gone on a bit, but this is a big topic. Your sex life is a crucial element for you. Do something about it. I hope I've provoked you to do so. Go and visit our websites, covest.com, charlescovest.com. Subscribe to Passion Points. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Share this information far and wide. Let me know if you would like me to, if you think I should run programs, on how to, if you think I should run public seminars on how to have a great sex life. I'm willing to do so. I'm interested in your thoughts. I'm also interested in any thoughts you might have on topics you want me to cover. I've got plenty of them, but maybe I say that I'm going to cover stuff and I forget. For example, on racism, I want to explore this whole question of racism. Buckminster Fuller has lots to say about that, as does science. Coffee, I want to keep drinking that, of course. I hope I've provoked you. I don't mind if I've offended you. I don't mind if I've scared you. That's what this show is about. Don't do the same old boring humdrum thing. Take risks. I've taken a risk today. I hope this week you take more risks. Do something every day that scares you. Keep pursuing your passion. If you don't know what it is, do the work to discover it. Come on the self-awareness and passion quest. Have a great week. Thanks for being with us, and I look forward to being with you next week. Bye.